Christmas is supposed to be the most wonderful time of the year. Twinkling lights, warm fires, family gathered around the tree, peace on earth, goodwill toward men. But not every Christmas story has a happy ending. Sometimes the holiday season brings something else, something darker. Something that hides behind the decorations and the carols, something that waits until you feel safe and then strikes. Tonight, I'm sharing 5 horrific, true Christmas horror stories. Stories that happened when people should have been celebrating. Stories that turned the most magical night of the year into a nightmare they'll never forget. So, turn down the lights, settle in, and whatever you do, don't assume you're safe just because it's Christmas. Let's begin. Story 1: The Secret Santa. This story comes from a woman named Emily. It happened in December 2019 in Portland, Oregon. Emily worked at a small marketing firm downtown. Every year, her office did a Secret Santa exchange. Nothing fancy, just a $20 limit and some holiday fun. Emily drew a name, Kevin, a quiet guy from the IT department. She barely knew him, so she played it safe and got him a Starbucks gift card and a funny mug. The exchange happened at the office Christmas party on December 20th. Everyone opened their gifts, laughed, ate cookies. It was nice. Emily got a gift too, a small box wrapped in red paper with a silver bow. No card, no name. She opened it in front of everyone. Inside was a bracelet, silver, delicate, beautiful. "Wow," she said, holding it up. "This is gorgeous. Who's my Secret Santa?" No one came forward. Emily laughed it off. Maybe they were shy. She put the bracelet on and went back to the party. That night, when she got home, she looked at the bracelet more closely, and that's when she noticed it. Engraved on the inside, in tiny letters, were the words, "I've been watching you." Her blood went cold. She took the bracelet off immediately and stared at it. Was this a joke? Some kind of weird prank? The next morning, she brought it to work and asked around. No one admitted to giving it to her. Her boss checked the Secret Santa list. Emily's Secret Santa was supposed to be a woman named Karen from accounting. But Karen swore she'd given Emily a candle. And sure enough, Emily had received a candle too, from Karen. So where did the bracelet come from? Emily reported it to HR. They said they'd look into it, but without knowing who gave it, there wasn't much they could do. That weekend, Emily went to a Christmas Eve service with her family. When she got home, she found a package on her doorstep. Another box. Same red wrapping paper, same silver bow. Her hands were shaking as she opened it. Inside was a photo of her taken through her apartment window. She was standing in her kitchen, making dinner. The photo was recent. She recognized the sweater she'd worn just 2 days ago. Emily called the police immediately. They came, took the photo, took her statement. They checked for prints, for security footage, for anything. Nothing. But they told her something that made her feel sick. The angle of the photo. It was taken from the building across the street, from one of the apartments directly facing hers. Emily moved out the next week. She stayed with her parents. She got a restraining order, even though she didn't know who to put it against. She never found out who sent those gifts, but she knows one thing. Someone from her office, or someone who knew her, had been watching her for a long time, and they wanted her to know it. Story 2. The Christmas Visitor. This story comes from a man named Greg. December 2017, rural Minnesota. Greg and his wife Linda lived on a small farm about 30 minutes outside of town. They had 2 kids, ages 7 and 9. It was their first Christmas in the house, and they'd gone all out. Lights on the roof, a huge tree, stockings hung by the fireplace. On Christmas Eve, they put the kids to bed around 9 p.m. Greg and Linda stayed up to wrap the last few presents and set everything under the tree. Around 11:30, Linda went to bed. Greg stayed up a little longer, watching TV in the living room. That's when he heard it. A sound from the kitchen. A soft, scraping sound, like something being dragged across the floor. Greg muted the TV and listened. Nothing. He got up and walked to the kitchen. Everything looked normal. He checked the back door, locked. He shrugged it off and went back to the couch. Then he heard it again. This time it was louder, and it was coming from upstairs. Greg's heart started pounding. He grabbed a flashlight and a baseball bat from the closet and crept up the stairs. The sound was coming from the hallway, right outside the kids' rooms. Greg turned on the hallway light. Nothing. He checked both kids' rooms. They were sound asleep. He checked the bathroom, the guest room. Nothing. He stood in the hallway, listening. Silence. Greg went back downstairs, his nerves on edge. He told himself it was just the house settling. Old houses make noise. But then, at 1 a.m., he heard something that made his blood run cold. Footsteps on the roof. Slow, heavy, deliberate. Greg stood in the living room staring up at the ceiling. The footsteps moved across the roof directly above him, from one end of the house to the other. Then they stopped, right above the fireplace. Greg's mind was racing. Was it an animal, a raccoon, a branch? Then he heard it. A voice, muffled, coming from the chimney. Ho, ho, ho! But it wasn't jolly. It wasn't festive. It was deep, distorted, wrong. Greg ran to the fireplace and looked up the chimney. He couldn't see anything, just darkness. Then something dropped. A boot, a black boot covered in soot. It landed in the fireplace with a heavy thud. Greg stumbled backward, his heart hammering in his chest. He grabbed his phone and called 911. It took the police 15 minutes to get there. When they arrived, they searched the roof, the chimney, the yard. No one was there. But they found something. Footprints in the snow, on the roof, leading from the driveway up to the chimney, and then back down, onto the lawn, into the woods. The boot was real. It was dirty, old, and it wasn't Greg's. The officer told him, "Someone was on your roof." Greg and his family didn't sleep that night. They installed security cameras the next week, motion lights, an alarm system. But Greg still thinks about it. That voice, that boot.
and he wonders what would have happened if he hadn't called the police. What was trying to come down that chimney?
Story 3. The Mall Santa. This one comes from a woman named Jessica. December 2016, New Jersey. Jessica was a single mom with a 5-year-old daughter, Mia. Every year, they went to the mall to take a photo with Santa. It was tradition. So, on December 18th, they went to the local mall. The line was long, but Mia was excited. She held her mom's hand, bouncing on her toes. When it was their turn, Jessica watched as Mia climbed onto Santa's lap. He was dressed in the full outfit, red suit, white beard, black boots. He looked the part. He smiled at Mia. "And what do you want for Christmas, little one?" Mia giggled, "A puppy." Santa nodded. "A puppy? That's a big responsibility. Do you think you're ready?" Mia nodded eagerly. Then Santa leaned in close, too close, and he whispered something in Mia's ear. Jessica saw her daughter's face change. Her smile faded. Her eyes went wide. "Okay, sweetie, come here," Jessica said, reaching for her. Mia climbed down and grabbed her mom's hand. She didn't say a word. Jessica paid for the photo and they left. But Mia was quiet the whole way home. She didn't talk. She didn't smile. She just stared out the window. That night, Jessica tucked her into bed. "Hey, baby, what did Santa say to you?" Mia looked at her mom with big, scared eyes. "He said he knows where we live. He said he's going to visit me on Christmas Eve when you're asleep." Jessica's stomach dropped. "What?" "He said not to tell you, but I got scared, Mummy." Jessica immediately called the mall. She asked to speak to the manager. She explained what happened. The manager was apologetic and said they'd look into it. The next day, Jessica got a call back. The manager told her something that made her feel sick. "We don't have a Santa today. Our Santa called in sick. We didn't have anyone scheduled for that shift." Jessica's voice was shaking. "That's impossible. We saw him. We took a photo." "Ma'am, we checked the cameras. There's no record of a Santa in that area at that time." Jessica hung up and pulled up the photo on her phone, the one they'd taken at the mall. In the photo, Mia was sitting on a red chair, smiling, but next to her, there was no Santa. Just an empty space. Jessica's hands were shaking. She zoomed in. She could see Mia's face, the chair, the background, but no Santa. Jessica filed a police report. She showed them the photo. She told them what Mia said. The police investigated. They reviewed the mall footage. They interviewed staff. No one had seen a man in a Santa suit that day. Christmas Eve came. Jessica didn't sleep. She sat in Mia's room all night, watching the door, watching the window. Nothing happened. But Mia still talks about it, about the man who said he was Santa, about the way he smiled. And Jessica knows one thing for sure. Whoever that man was, he wasn't Santa Claus.
Story 4. The Christmas Lights. This story comes from a couple named Mark and Rachel. December 2020, Georgia. Mark and Rachel had just bought their first house. They were excited to decorate for Christmas. Mark spent an entire weekend putting up lights on the roof, along the driveway, around the windows, the whole 9 yards. On December 22nd, they turned the lights on for the first time. It looked amazing. That night, around 10 p.m., Rachel was getting ready for bed when she looked out the bedroom window, and she saw someone standing in the yard. A man, dressed in dark clothes, just standing there, staring at the house. Rachel's heart started racing. "Mark! Mark, come here!" Mark ran into the room. "What? There's someone outside!" They both looked out the window. The man was still there, not moving, just staring. Mark grabbed his phone and called the police. Then he went downstairs and turned on the porch light. The man didn't move. Mark opened the front door. "Hey, can I help you?" The man turned and walked away, slowly, into the darkness. The police arrived 10 minutes later. They searched the yard, the street, the neighborhood. No sign of him. The officer told them, "Probably just someone admiring your lights, but call us if you see him again." The next night, Rachel was in the kitchen when she glanced out the window. The man was back. This time he was closer, standing at the end of the driveway, staring at the house. Rachel screamed. Mark came running. He bolted outside, but by the time he got there, the man was gone. They called the police again. Again, no sign of him. This went on for 3 more nights. Every night, around 10 p.m., the man would appear, sometimes in the yard, sometimes across the street, always staring. Mark installed a security camera. On Christmas Eve, the camera caught him. The man walked up the driveway, right up to the front door. He stood there for almost 5 minutes, just staring at the camera. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out a key. Mark and Rachel watched the footage in horror. The man tried the key in their lock. It didn't work. He tried again and again. Then he put the key back in his pocket and walked away. Mark called the police immediately. They came and reviewed the footage. They put out an alert. They increased patrols in the neighborhood. 2 days later, they caught him. His name was Dennis. He was 54 years old, and he used to live in Mark and Rachel's house 15 years ago. He'd kept a copy of the key, and when he saw the Christmas lights, he came back. He told the police he just wanted to see it again. He said he missed it. He was arrested for trespassing and stalking. Mark and Rachel changed all the locks. They kept the cameras, and they took down the Christmas lights. They've never put them back up. Story 5: The Christmas Morning Gift. This last story comes from a man named David, December 2018, Ohio. David lived alone in a small apartment. He didn't have any family nearby, so he usually spent Christmas by himself. It didn't bother him. He'd order takeout, watch movies, and relax. On Christmas morning, David woke up around 8 a.m. He made coffee and turned on the TV. Then he noticed something. A gift sitting on his kitchen table. A small box wrapped in green paper with a red bow on top. David froze. He lived alone.
His door had been locked all night. No one had a key. No one had been in his apartment. He walked slowly toward the table and stared at the box. There was a tag, "To David, Merry Christmas, from a friend." His hands were shaking as he picked it up. It was light, almost empty. He unwrapped it carefully. Inside was a small, folded piece of paper. David unfolded it. Written in messy handwriting were the words, "I've been here the whole time." David's heart was pounding. He spun around, looking at every corner of his apartment. The bathroom, the closet, under the bed. Nothing. He called the police. They came and searched the apartment. They found no signs of forced entry, no fingerprints, no evidence. But they found something else. In the back of David's bedroom closet, behind a pile of old boxes, there was a small space, just big enough for someone to crouch in. And inside that space, there was a blanket, a pillow, and an empty water bottle. Someone had been living in his closet. The police dusted for prints. They found several. They ran them through the system. No match. David moved out that week. He never found out who it was or how long they'd been there. But he knows one thing. On Christmas morning, while he was asleep, someone was watching him. And they wanted him to know. Christmas is supposed to be about joy, about love, about magic. But these 5 stories remind us that sometimes the people who wish you a Merry Christmas aren't wishing you well at all. So, this holiday season, lock your doors, check your windows, and if you find a gift you didn't expect, maybe don't open it. Which story scared you the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you have your own Christmas horror story, I want to hear it. Thanks for watching, stay safe this holiday season, and I'll see you in the next one. If you enjoyed these chilling Christmas tales, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more stories that will keep you looking over your shoulder. Turn on notifications so you never miss the next one.